Hello, welcome back to Cinderella Math. I hope you're having a great day. Today is going to be a video here on the how to find the area of two-dimensional or 2D or flat shapes. So not talking about perimeter. I probably should I'll do a separate, just going to go for area. Sorry, just kind of debating if I should throw that into this one or not. I'm just going to go area on this one. Alrighty, so I don't know if I'll hit every 2D shape known to man here, but I will hit the highlights. I will hit the most important ones in my opinion. So we'll start with square. All right, you've known what a square was since you were 2 or 3 years old. It's a four-sided or a quadrilateral, four-sided shape, and all the sides are the same. So the area of a square, and that's the amount of space on the inside, is the side length squared. Or area can also be side times side. Or you could say length times width. I will always do a cursive L because regular L's to me look like ones. So that's why I do a cursive there. All right, you can do any of those formulas. You take your pick. I will briefly show you. I'll do one example with them all. Okay. So again, let me just draw our square. So if I know this is a square, tick, 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 all four sides are the same, I really just need one side. Let's say this is 5 inches. Then it's 5 all the way around. So the side is 5. So using this formula, I would do 5 squared, which is 25. We're in inches, and area is always in square units, always. That just means 25 little squares could fit in there, where each little square is an inch on every side. Okay, that's all that means. So always just put the little 2. That's what you do for area. Using the second formula, side times side. Well, if this side is 5, I know this side is 5 because it's a square. So 5 times 5 is 25. We're in inches and put the little 2. If I use the last formula, this is the length, this is the width. So 5 times 5 is 25. We're in inches and put the 2. So it does not matter. That's all you have to do for a square. It doesn't matter which formula you use. It's fine. All right, that is how you do a square. I will just do one more. I know that's not perfect. Sorry. Tick, 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 tick. Right angle. So sometimes you'll see your squares marked with the right angles as well. And let's say this is 2 yards. So that means this is 2 yards. I like to use the length times width one. It doesn't matter. They all come out the same. So you pick whichever. Doesn't matter. 2 times 2 is 4 yards. And then put the square. That is it. That's all you need to do for a square. Rectangle, which is kind of like the big brother to the square. So rectangles, the top and the bottom are equal, the left and the right are equal, and you still do have those 4 right angles. And again, we're finding the area. So the inside space is length times width, or area is base times height. Either way, they're the same. Okay, so on my example, I'm going to say this is 10 inches and this is 3 inches. 10 times 3, 30. I'm in inches and put the 2. You could also say this is the base and this is the height. It would still be 10 times 3. It would still be 30. So it really doesn't matter which one's the length, which one's the width, which one's the base, which one's the height, because multiplication can be done in any order. You're good to go. That's it. That is how you do a rectangle. I'll do one more. I'll say this is 8 centimeters and 2.5 centimeters. So area is length times width or base times height. 8 times 2.5 or 2.5 times 8. Again, the order doesn't matter because multiplication is commutative, which means it can be done in any order. 8 times 2.5, right through a calculator, 20. 20, we're in centimeters and square. And that's it. That's how you do a rectangle. So again, that means 20 little squares could fit in this, where each little square has a side length of 1 centimeter. That's why the unit is squared. Okay, going on to parallelogram. It's basically a slanted rectangle. You might have called this a diamond when you were younger. This same formula, by the way, also works for a rhombus. Okay, so parallelograms, the top and the bottom is equal, and the left and the right are equal. And our formula is area equals base times height, where the height has to be the straight height. What I mean by that is that parallelograms are slanted, right? Mine's not very good. Let me redraw this. There we go. That's a better parallelogram. Okay, so the height has to come from one of the corners straight down. That is the height, and it needs to come down at a right angle. And then the side it hits, that's the base. Okay, so when you see that dashed line in there, that is the height. Okay, so let's say for this example that this is 4 centimeters and this is 11 centimeters. So I would say 11 times 4. Honestly, if you did 4 times 11, doesn't matter. It's going to be the same. 44 centimeters and do the 2. And you would speak that as 44 centimeters, square centimeters. Okay. Now, sometimes you will see the height drawn on the outside of this. So sometimes they'll drop the height on the outside. Let me change colors. That is okay. If they do that, it'll still come down at a right angle. This is the height, even though it's on the outside, it's okay. It's the straight height. And then the side that it hooks up with, that's the base. Okay. So let's say the height is 20 centimeters. And let's say the base is 5 centimeters. Area equals base times height. 20 times 5 is 100. We're in centimeters and square. Okay, and again, that will work for a parallelogram or a rhombus. A rhombus is just a parallelogram where all the sides are the same. Okay, but either way. Alrighty, gonna go on to a triangle. Area equals 1/2 base times height. Yes, you can do 0.5, same difference. The height, again, has to be the straight height. So what I mean by that is they're going to start at the tip and they're going to come straight down, again, dashed with a right angle. That is the height, and the base is where it hits. This is the base. Now, your picture could be turned, so it doesn't necessarily have to look like that, but you do need the straight height, and where it connects is the base. Okay, so let's say for this triangle that I'm having a base of 8 inches and a height of 6 inches. So we would do 1/2 8 times 6. You can push that through a fraction calculator. You can use 0.5, or this one's easy enough. We can probably do it in our head. 1/2 of 8 is 4. 4 times 6 is 24. We're in inches and do the little 2 because of area. Right. Let me do a right triangle. So what I mean by right triangle is that there is already a straight height in it. So see how this is straight and straight. I know it's not perfect, but go with me. So you just need the straight height connecting to the base. So if they give you a number right here, you do not need it. So that is what's tricky about triangles sometimes, is they'll give you an extra number that is not needed. So just watch out. I recommend using a colored pencil or like a highlighter and really getting in there saying, okay, this is the, oops, this is the height, this is the base. Okay. So for this example, let's have a height of 11 meters and a base of 3 meters. So you would just say area is 1/2 base times height, 1/2 3 times 11. Now that one, 11 times 3 is 33. 33 cut in half is 16.5 meters square. And of course, if you don't want to do all that arithmetic in your head, just run it through a calculator. Okay. It is possible also that they drop the height outside the triangle, just like what happened with the parallelograms. Let me show you one of those. There we go. So this one, they could drop the straight height on the outside and connect. So this would be the height. Even though it's all outside the triangle, you're still going to use that as your height. Okay, so I'm going to say that's 9. Yeah, that's fine. 9 meters. And I'm going to say this is 8 meters. So again, whatever the height connects to, even if it's outside, that's the base. So area is 1/2 base times height, 1/2 8 times 9. Half of 8 is 4, 4 times 9 is 36 meters squared. And a lot of people ask, where did the half come from? So here's why this formula is what it is. So go back to the rectangle. I gave you 2 formulas for that. It was either area is length times width or area is base times height. If you cut a rectangle in half diagonally, you get triangles. So this triangle that I just scribbled in black, that is half the rectangle. So if the rectangle is base times height, the triangle is 1/2 base times height. Okay, and I think the final shape I'll do here, of course there's more, but I'm hitting the highlights. I'm going to do the trapezoid. I have a separate video for circles where I find the area and circumference, which is the fancy word for perimeter of circles. Feel free to look on my channel. It should be under the middle school math category. So trapezoids, they're kind of the weirdo. They're still a 4-sided shape, so they are classified as a quadrilateral. And here's your formula. Area is 1/2 base 1 plus base 2 times height. And we do write the little 1 and 2 kind of down. That's called a subscript. That's just notation. Don't let that scare you. Okay, how do you know what all those things mean? The height, again, has to be the straight height. Okay, so let me just find a good example here. So they will have to come from the tip straight down. And again, it's usually dashed and it's usually connected with a right angle. That is the height. The 2 sides that the height touches are your bases, plural. So this is base 1 and this one's base 2. It doesn't actually matter which one's 1 or 2, just pick it. Okay? So let me draw a second example. Let's put some actual numbers on there. I'm going to say this is 10 inches, 20 inches, and let's drop a height of 4 inches. So area is 1/2 base 1 plus base 2 times height. And the Base 1 plus base 2 is in parentheses because we're going to do that first. Remember order of operations? I have a video on that as well. Parentheses first. So 1/2, 10 plus 20, those are your bases because they're connected to the height. So if they gave us this, see that other side, don't need it. So if that's on your paper for school or class or homeschool or whatever, you do not need that one. Okay? So 1/2, 10 plus 20 times the height of 4. So order of operations, do the parentheses first. 10 plus 20 is 30 times 1/2 times 4. And now you can multiply in any order. I know 4 times 1/2 is 2. 2 times 30 is 60. Inches and square. You can multiply in any order or just take that through a calculator. You can do 1/2 in the calculator or 0.5, either way. Okay. It is possible also that they drop the height like in different places. I'm trying to think if it could be outside, maybe. The only time they won't have the height coming down like a dashed line is if your trapezoid is a right trapezoid, like this. That's a right trapezoid. See how that left side is just perfectly right? So that means you don't have to drop a height. This is the height. This would be base 1. This would be base 2. So let's just do that. I'm going to say the height is 7 centimeters. Base 1 is 2 centimeters and 3 centimeters. Picture, not to scale. So area is 1/2 base 1 plus base 2 times height. 1/2 2 plus 3 times 7. Do the adding first. So this would be 1/2, 5, 7. 5 times 7 is 35. 35 cut in half. 17.5 centimeters square. And that's it. Of course, there's more shapes. I hit the highlights. This is probably aimed for anywhere from grade 5 through 8. If you're in high school, this could be a nice review, but really kind of for those middle school years. Certainly area gets worse, right? We can put the shapes together. That's called composite figures. That gets pretty tricky. But for this video, it's just the basic area of 2D shapes. Okay? Perimeter, I didn't discuss in this video. I don't even know if that needs a video. You just add up all the way around, right? But area is the space inside. All right, if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below, and I hope you're having a great day. Bye-bye.